December 7th, 1941. Wheeler Field, Oahu, Hawaii. Sirens wail. Explosions rock the ground, and the sky fills with Japanese aircraft dive bombers. Torpedo planes, fighters swarming in waves, amid the chaos. Second Lieutenant George Welch, 47th Pursuit Squadron, races across the tarmac in a borrowed car, jumps into a Curtiss P-40 Warhawk and starts the engine. No orders, no clearance. It's just instinct. It taxis outweaves between burning hangars and takes off into a sky thick with enemy planes. Japanese Zeros and Vals dive everywhere. Machine guns flashing. Welch climbs hard, spots a formation of Aichi D-3 Val dive bombers, rolls in behind one, and fires. His 6.50 caliber machine guns roar. The Val bursts into flames and tumbles earthward. Another follows. Then another. Welch fights alone at first, then joins Lieutenant Kenneth Taylor in the air. They dive through the swarm, perhaps 200, 300. Japanese aircraft overhead at the peak, tracers crisscrossing the sky. Welch downs 4, confirmed. Taylor, 2 or more. Bullets rip through Welch's P-40. A tail gunner from a bomber scores hits, but the rugged Warhawk holds together. He lands twice to rearm and refuel under fire, then takes off again into the maelstrom. How does one P-40 pilot, in an aircraft often called inferior to the Japanese Zero, get airborne during the surprise attack, shoot down multiple enemy planes, survive repeated sorties against overwhelming numbers, and live to tell it, yet never receive the Medal of Honor? This is the shocking defiance of Pearl Harbor's first aerial counterattack. To lieutenants who refused to stay on the ground while their airfield burned. To understand why this moment resonated so deeply, consider the context of December 7th, 1941. The Imperial Japanese Navy launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet and prevent interference with their conquests in Southeast Asia. Over 3 Japanese aircraft Kate struck in 2 waves, targeting battleships, airfields, and installations. The assault caught American forces unprepared. Most aircraft were parked wingtip to wingtip. No alert fighters airborne initially. At Wheeler Field, home to the 47th Pursuit Squadron, P-40 Warhawk sat vulnerable. The Curtiss P-40, powered by an Allison V1710 engine, armed with 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns, was America's frontline fighter in the Pacific. It was rugged, dived fast, and packed heavy firepower, but suffered from poor high-altitude performance compared to the agile, lightweight 0A6M, which excelled in turning fights at lower speeds. Second Lieutenant George S. Welch and Lieutenant Kenneth Taylor, both young pilots, had spent the previous night at a dance and poker game. When the attack began, they drove to Haliwa Auxiliary Field, not hit initially, where a few P-40s waited. They took off without orders, a breach of protocol in the confusion, and climbed into the enemy formation. The importance of their actions cannot be overstated in the first minutes of America's entry into World War II. With battleships burning and airfields devastated, these 2 pilots became the only U.S. fighters to engage the attackers effectively from the air that morning. Welch claimed 4 victories, 3 Vals, 1 0, Taylor 2 or more. Their sorties disrupted Japanese formations, drew fire away from ground targets, and provided the first American aerial resistance. The P-40's strengths, durability, dive speed, armament allowed them to survive hits that might have downed lighter aircraft. The Zero's weaknesses: unarmored fuel tanks, light construction, made it vulnerable to .50 caliber fire when it hit solidly. Welch and Taylor used boom and zoom tactics. Dive from above, fire bursts, climb away. Avoiding turning dogfights. With the Zero dominated, both were recommended for the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest award for extraordinary heroism. Welch's recommendation was denied, reportedly because his commanding officer noted he took off without authorization, violating standing orders amid the chaos. They received the Distinguished Service Cross instead, the first awarded in World War II. This event highlighted early war disparities. Surprise favored Japan, but individual courage and aircraft ruggedness allowed limited but meaningful resistance. It boosted morale when news spread proof Americans would fight back, and foreshadowed later successes like the Flying Tigers, who used P-40s to claim hundreds of Japanese aircraft in China-Burmandia Theater. December 7th, 1941. Las Ocho Alto M. Halewa Auxiliary Field, Oahu, Hawaii. Smoke rises in black columns from Pearl Harbor and Wheeler Field. The sky is alive with Japanese aircraft. Aichi-D-3A. Val dive bombers. Nakajima B-5 and Kate. Torpedo planes. Mitsubishi. A-6M. Zero fighters. Sweeping in waves, Second Lieutenant George S. Welch and Lieutenant Kenneth Taylor skid to a stop in a borrowed car at the edge of the grass strip. Two P-40 Warhawks sit fueled and armed, untouched by the initial strikes. Welch leaps from the car, sprints to the nearest P-40, jumps onto the wing, and drops into the cockpit. "Get the other one," he shouts to Taylor. Ground crew, stunned but moving, spin the propeller. The Allison V-1710. Engine coughs, then roars. Welch straps in, starts the engine, checks the 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns, loaded with armor-piercing incendiary rounds. No time for run-up. He releases brakes, taxis fast across the grass, kicks the rudder, and lifts off into the smoke-filled sky. Taylor follows seconds later in the second P-40. They climb hard, breaking through low clouds into clear air, thick with enemy planes. Welch spots a formation of valves pulling out of a dive over Schofield Barracks. A rolls left dives from 8,000 feet, closes fast. The lead valve fills his gun sight. He triggers the trigger 6.50 calibers. Hammer at 800 rounds per minute combined. Tracers streak into the dive bomber's fuselage. Fuel tanks ignite. The valve explodes in a fireball and spins down. Welch pulls up sharply, climbs for altitude. A Zero crosses his path below. He rolls inverted, dives again, fires a short burst. The Zero's wing folds, pilot bails. One confirmed. He scans Japanese planes everywhere, perhaps 200 to 300 in the air at the peak of the attack. Tracers whip past his canopy. A Kate's tail gunner opens fire. .3 Ocal rounds punch through the P-40's tail and right wing. The Warhawk shudders, but holds its heavy construction, absorbs punishment the lighter Zero cannot. Taylor joins him. They fight as a pair dive. Fire. Zoom away. Welch downs another valve, then a third. Taylor claims two. Ammunition runs low. Welch breaks off, dives low over Wheeler Field, lands on the cratered runway amid exploding bombs. Ground crew rush out under fire, refuel the P-40, reload ammunition belts. Welch takes off again. He climbs back into the fray, finds another formation, downs a fourth Japanese plane. The P-40's strengths shine. Rugged airframe, powerful DV, heavy armament. The Zero turns tighter, climbs better at low speed, but when hit solidly by .50 KO fire, it burns or disintegrates. Welch uses boom and zoom high-speed passes. Avoid prolonged turns. Taylor mirrors him. Japanese pilots, focused on ground targets, are slow to react to the sudden American fighters. By late morning, the second wave ends. Welch lands his battered P-40 one final time. Holes riddle the wings, tail, fuselage. Oil leaks. Engine runs rough. It climbs out, face black with smoke. Uniform torn. Taylor lands beside him. Aircraft similarly scarred. Together they claim at least 6 Japanese planes destroyed. Welch 4. Taylor to the only confirmed aerial victories for U.S. pilots during the attack. No other American fighters got airborne in time to engage. The 2 P-40s, alone in the sky, 4 minutes, faced hundreds of enemy aircraft. They survived by speed, surprise, and the Warhawk's toughness. During the second wave, around 9 a.m., Japanese aircraft swarm Wheeler and Bellows fields, bombing and strafing in coordinated runs. Welch and Taylor, now low on fuel and ammunition from earlier sorties, climb back into the fight one last time. Welch spots a formation of L's pulling out after a dive. He dives from above at over 400 miles per hour. The P-40's maximum dive speed advantage over the Zero. He closes on the trailing Val. Gun sight steady. 6.50 calibers. Roar incendiary rounds rip through wings and fuselage. The dive bomber catches fire, rolls inverted, crashes into the sea. Another Val breaks formation. Welch follows, fires again. The second bomber disintegrates midair. A Zero attempts to turn onto his tail. Welch pulls up hard, rolls, loses the pursuer in the clouds. Taylor, nearby, engages a Kate. The torpedo plane's rear gunner fires wildly. Taylor takes hits to the engine cowling, but stays on target. A burst from his gun sets the Kate ablaze. Both pilots break off as ammunition runs dry. They below streak back to Haliwa, under heavy ground fire from Japanese strafers. Welch lands first, wheels touch the grass, aircraft bounces, rolls to a stop near the tree line. Taylor follows seconds later. Ground crews swarm them. Refueling impossible now. Fuel tanks are nearly empty. Aircraft, too damaged for another sortie. The attack ends shortly after. Smoke covers the island. Ships burn in the harbor. Welch's P-40 is counted. Over 200 bullet holes. Tail section shredded, wing spars damaged. But the airframe held. The Allison engine, though leaking oil, ran until shutdown. The Warhawk's durability. Thick skin. Self-sealing tanks in later models. Heavy structure. Saved them where lighter fighters might have failed. Both pilots are immediately recommended for the Medal of Honor. Extraordinary heroism. Voluntary combat against overwhelming odds. Welch's recommendation is denied. His commanding officer notes he took off without orders, violating protocol in the chaos. Taylor receives the DSC as well, but no higher award follows. They are credited officially with 6 Japanese planes, destroyed between them. Welch 4, Taylor 2, though some accounts credit Welch with more. The lesson is clear and harsh. Courage and skill can seize opportunities even in disaster, but bureaucracy and protocol can deny recognition. 2 P-40s, facing hundreds of attackers, provided the only meaningful air resistance that morning. They disrupted enemy formations, saved lives on the ground, and proved America would fight back. Yet the highest honor eluded one because he acted without waiting for permission. Second Lieutenant George S. Welch stepped down from his bullet-riddled P-40 Warhawk on the grass at Haliwa Auxiliary Field. Late on the morning of December 7th, 1941, the aircraft stood, scarred wings perforated, tail section shredded, engine cowling, leaking oil, but still intact. Smoke from Pearl Harbor drifted across the island, the harbor full of burning ships, airfields dotted with wreckage. Welch's uniform was black with soot, his face streaked with sweat and grime. He lit a cigarette with steady hands as ground crew swarmed to the plane, counting the holes, marveling that it had flown 3 sorties through the worst of the attack. Beside him, Lieutenant Kenneth Taylor climbed out of his own damaged Warhawk. Together they had claimed at least 6 Japanese planes destroyed. Welch, for Taylor too, the only confirmed aerial victories by American pilots that day. They had taken off without orders, fought alone in a sky swarming with hundreds of enemy aircraft, and lived to land again. The P-40s had held together under fire that would have doomed lighter fighters. The 2 pilots stood quietly amid the chaos, watching the last Japanese planes disappear to the north. Recommendations for the Medal of Honor followed quickly. Witnesses, ground crew, fellow pilots, even those who had watched from the ground described extraordinary heroism. 2 men who refused to stay grounded while their country was attacked, who climbed into a maelstrom of enemy fire and struck back. The citations were prepared, the paperwork sent forward. For Taylor, the Distinguished Service Cross was approved. For Welch, it stopped short. His commanding officer noted the breach of protocol. He had taken off without authorization, violating standing orders in the confusion of the surprise attack. The highest award was denied. Welch never spoke much about it afterward. He flew combat in the Pacific, survived, returned home, and lived quietly for many years. The denial of the Medal of Honor lingered in some accounts as an injustice. A man who faced overwhelming odds, risked everything without hesitation, yet was denied recognition because he acted before permission arrived. The P-40 he flew that day was repaired, returned to service, and eventually retired. The aircraft type itself became a symbol of early war resilience, carrying pilots through desperate fights until better machines arrived. The story of those 2 P-40s endures, not as one of flawless victory, but of raw defiance in the face of disaster. Pearl Harbor marked America's entry into the war. Welch and Taylor marked its first response in the air. They proved that even when caught unprepared, courage could still rise, could still climb, fight, and return. The medal may have been withheld, but the record of what they did remains. 2 fighters against hundreds, 6 enemy planes down, and 2 pilots who walked away when so many did not. In war, recognition sometimes follows rules rather than reality. Welch's actions spoke louder than any medal could. He did not wait for permission to defend his country. A simply flew. I've just said what's recorded in history. You should find out the real truth yourself. We have written the sources from which we got this story in the description of this video, and we have always been and will be supporters of the oppressed, regardless of their color, race, or country. This world and its creator are also with the oppressed. If this tale of defiance at Pearl Harbor and the missing Medal of Honor moved you, drop a like, share your thoughts in the comments, should you have received it, and subscribe for more forgotten World War II stories. Hit the bell so you'll never miss the next WWII story.